Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back to the channel. So, well, I should say welcome to the first video on the BMW other than, the introductory. If you didn't already see that video, go watch that. If you want the gist of it, I bought a BMW. I bought an E36 to be specific, and if you don't know nothing about them, then, well, welcome to the club. Me neither. So, I got a problem with this car, though, and again, if you didn't refer to the last video, that main problem is that this thing's automatic. Now, this is only the second automatic car I've ever bought in my life. I've had quite a few cars at my age. I'll be 28 later this year. I've probably had 11 or 12 cars. Some of you guys had that, go through that in a year. But for a normal person, that's relatively a lot of cars. Now, the first car I bought, that was an automatic, and the only car that I bought, oh, I'm sorry, this is my third. I just corrected myself. I had a Chevy Blazer at one point, if you guys remember that a few years back. But that was very short-lived. But my first car was a 98 Camaro. Automatic slush box Nugget. Traded that for my first DA. Never looked back. But this case, I bought the automatic because it was what was available to me. It was cheap, and they're easy enough to swap in this car. Let me show you. I gotta say, as classy as that wood grain is, yeah, it's gotta go. So basically, what we're working with here is I ended up finding the better of the two transmissions. If you don't know, there's Getrag and then there's ZF. This is, as you can see, if it'll focus, if it'll focus, if it'll focus. There we go, the ZF. So this is a 5-speed. This comes in a lot of different BMW applications, but this is usually the most, go-to because it's the beefier of them. And then, yeah, it just works. So with that, there's specific components. This isn't necessarily a how-to video on what exactly you need. There's plenty of other videos on there, out here on YouTube and on the internet. So it's pretty straightforward. You'll see the parts as I'm going along, but the specific parts would have to be the transmission. If you have a Getrag, get Getrag specific parts. If you have a ZF, get ZF specific parts. This is a ZF specific drive shaft. This is a ZF specific transmission mount. Well, bracket, whatever. I got the mounts that go, here and whatever. But yeah, you need this guy. And then the shifter, I don't know that it's specific, but this is the one that came with the ZF in general. I have no idea how long this swap is going to take me. It is currently a Wednesday at 4 in the afternoon when I'm starting on this because I had to dig around because I thought I had everything when I went to go start today, which was this morning, and then realized my clutch kit did not come with pressure plate bolts, so I got those on the way right now. And then the clutch line I bought happened to be the wrong one because normally on these cars, there's a master on the pedal, there's a hard line to outside, and then there's a soft line from that to another hard line that goes to the slave cylinder. Now, I bought what I thought was a bypass line that gets rid of all that to just a braided steel line, but it turns out I bought the shorter one, which is the one that goes in between the hard lines. So I ordered a Chase Bay's full soft line that goes from the master cylinder to the slave cylinder on the transmission. I just got, shipment confirmation that should hopefully be here in the next 2 days because I got, postal priority. But, before I can even do anything, the one thing that this car desperately needs, besides an exhaust, which I don't have all the material for at the moment, that'll be for, after the swap, I guess, is a battery. So this thing has to be jumped to start it right now, and even then it's barely cranking over because the battery is so dead. This thing sat for a long time. But in the meantime, I just went to Walmart, got an EverStart Max, and we're going to slap this thing in really quick, and hopefully that solves our problem. Alright, well, we got a trunk light, so that's already a good sign. We didn't have nothing before. So let's try and fire up and see what happens. Alright, so I'm not seeing any dome lights. Oh, nope, we got that. So, good news. Let's turn that off. Oh, heck yeah. Oh. I don't know why that always comes on its own. It's really weird. She's purring like a kitten. And loud. Alright, so we know that the car runs good now. The battery did just the trick. And you know, I was hoping it would for almost $200. Dude, batteries have gone up so much in price. But you know, let's just jump right into this manual swap, eh? I think just because the car's already on the ground and it's scooted forward to the lift arm so I can, you know, open the door. I'm gonna start on the inside because I also don't know how to take apart the interiors of these cars. We got to get the center console out, and we got to get the shift console because we got to take the automatic shifter out with the cables and stuff, and then, you know, the pedal assembly. So I'm gonna start just, you know, trying to figure stuff out, and we'll figure it out as we go, eh? So taking that passenger seat out, I had to take it out because the damn thing doesn't work. It's like stuck all the way back. So I Googled it quick, and it sounds like it's a plastic gear that's broken in the motor system. I don't know, apparently a relatively easy fix, but not in the car. But yeah, that was a pain to get out. German connectors are very weird. They're not like Honda ones where it's just like pinch and pull most of the time. But it's out. I found like $4 and change here and a whole lot of trash. But now I can finish getting the center console. This is ridiculously harder than it needs to be. Okay. Finally got this freaking hunk of junk out after, you know, breaking some old plastic tabs and taking a fat chunk out of my finger because my freaking shift knob. So all the videos I've seen, these dudes just said pull it off, but this one happens to have that stinking this one just happens to have that Allen key there that you can't see. But even if I wanted to take it off, it's rounded out from one of the last guys. So yeah, this is, you know, basura. But we got the interior stuff mostly taken apart now. So this stuff should be able to just, you know, lift up like that. And yeah, the only thing I did forget to get is, you know, the pieces that go around the shifter, like the foam and stuff. I'm gonna just order that new from FCP Euro. I'll order that tonight, and then hopefully by the time this is all done, and then I can drive the car without the center console for a few days, because I'm going to clean all this stuff up because it is all disgusting. And then obviously I plan on, you know, deep cleaning in here because look at how dirty that is. Like, gross. But I think for the most part, other than the pedal assembly, we're good in here. But the issue that I ran into is I got Jewed out on eBay for the pedals. I only lost $30, but it wasn't marked and the photos weren't very clear, so I ended up buying another automatic pedal assembly instead of a manual. So that kind of sucks, but the only difference I see is the one that I have, the pedal is height-wise smaller, just length-wise just as wide as this one. So I'm going to just have to chop one of them down and then swap it out later, but it should work just fine. I think the pedal still bolts right up to it for the clutch or whatever. So anyways, that stuff is done. Now the only concern I have is I don't know how to get this thing into neutral to roll it back. So I may have to jack up the rear and like pull the car so I can get it up on the lift. But yeah, we're making some progress. Yeah, that really should have not taken nearly as long as it did. those power steering lines, very, very dirty. And were not easy to take out. But I got, you know, the drive shaft out, obviously the inside center console stuff out, the shifter cable out. I think it should be in neutral right now because obviously I got it on the lift. I think I got lucky. But yeah, it should be in neutral right now. So I think all that's really left. I'm kind of torn. I'm going to do some more research here off camera. But one video shows like OBD1 cars, you have to pull the intake manifold to get the starter stuff. But the OBD2, it looks like the bolt's going from behind. So I should be good to just start finding all the bell housing bolts and start pulling them off because everything's drained and coming apart. So Doge is on the way. That'll be cool. Get a second set of eyes up there. But yeah, I'm gonna take a break. I'm kind of sweaty. But it's like 7:30 in the evening right now, so it's getting, you know, it's still light out, but a little tired. But we're gonna keep going. I'm gonna try and at least get this transmission dropped for the night before I call it a day, and see where that leaves us. All right, so Doge showed up, so he's been hanging out for a few now, just trying to get the transmission bell housing bolts out. It's kind of where I'm at the moment. Thankfully, they're really not that bad. The hardest part so far was like they had this, you know, the heat shielding stuff that kept falling on my face this whole video so far. We just ripped that out. I'm just gonna end up putting, you know, Dynamat or something to keep the heat away. But for now, it's not a big deal. I'm just trying to get the swap done. But with that out of the way, there's a lot more room for these bell housing bolts. So far they've been E10s and E14s, but I found that if you use an 11.12 or an 11 mil 12-point socket, it fits the same as on an E14. Probably could be a tighter fit, but it works so far because I got a stubby one to get these top bolts. Now they're not nearly as bad as they were on the S2000. Can't really show you that at the moment because there's no light up there. But take my word for it. Should be almost done. Probably got like 3 more bolts, and I think 2 of those are starter bolts, and then we should be able to pull this thing off. Alright, well, after me taking a bath in automatic fluid, the transmission is out. It is way heavier than it looks, that's for darn sure, but it's out. Just gotta get the torque converter off. And this is my first time doing anything with an automatic, so I'm kind of, you know, learning as we're going here, but it is very, very messy. And that's my biggest gripe with this. It is atrociously messy. And then with all the dust everywhere from the freaking heat shielding stuff I had mentioned before, I'm over it. But yeah, we're making good progress, I guess. Right?
One less automatic transmission in the world. It's a good thing.
Yeah, right. So next up, you know, torque converter and automatic flywheel, and then it's all the manual clutch parts, and then probably tomorrow is when I'll try and throw the actual manual piece up, the manual transmission over there. Thankfully, that one's nice and clean, so that's not going to be nearly as bad. But yeah, in the meantime, I don't know. Thing's ugly.
Somebody has a rough. Just put that anywhere.
Just right in the gut. Okay, all I gotta say is fuck whoever's idea it was to make a fucking whatever that is. That was ignorant. Okay, so all that's left is just this guy. I think there's 17 Ugga Duggas, and this thing should come right off.
Famous last words.
Yeah.
You sure?
I just had. This is 18. 18 doesn't fit. This is 19.
Oh, it's 9/16. This is the one SAE bolt the Germans used.
Honestly, I do believe that is true. Try a different one. Okay.
Trash can. Part 1. Part 2.
Alright guys, I'm going to end this out here though. That puts a wrap up for the day. You know, I thought this could have been a one video series, but it looks like I still might be missing one or two small pieces to attach the shifter to the transmission, and then just overall it's, you know, it's a lot of labor, but more so it's just time consuming. So it's just going to take a couple of days. I don't want to drag it out too much. So we'll just cut it and we'll pick it up hopefully tomorrow after I do some jobs, and then yeah, I think next up is getting the, well, I got to get the shifter sorted out before, because that has to go together outside the car, and then you put it up with the car. So, well, at least to make it easier. But anyways, guys, do what you love. Forget about the rest. Thanks for watching, spending some time out of your day here with me. I am covered in transmission fluid, so I'm going to go home and take a shower. So we'll see you in the next one. Peace out.